Hello, Math 7 students. I hope you're having a good Wednesday. Of course, this is Mrs. Strickler here with your video for your lesson today. And we are going to do lesson 9.8, which is our last new lesson in chapter 9. So it's about simple interest, a very relevant, practical topic that you should all know about. So let's say a prayer and get started. Father in heaven, we just thank you for this day. I pray that you would help all of my students to focus and learn well, and that you would help me to teach and the very best that I can. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, well, I have some good news. I did 2 Zoom tutoring sessions last week, and they were both very successful. So I hope to have that either this week or next week. You will certainly get one before your Chapter 9 test. So more information will come on that soon. And let's get started. So I'm going to open up the projector. So I hope you have a piece of paper out. I'm going to be reading the problems and writing things down. Okay, so if you have a bank account, then you will receive, and you put money in it, and you put it in a savings account, you will receive money from the bank. Your money will earn money for you, and that money that you earn is called interest. So we have some things. I'm going to read a problem, and then we'll learn all about the different parts of the what interest is. But I can tell you this formula: I equals PRT, where I is interest, P is the principal, or the amount of money that you put into the account, R is the rate, the interest rate you earn, and T is time. Okay, so here's number 1. I'm going to read it first, and then we'll write down all the important facts. Tim's parents lend Tim $100 so he can buy a RC airplane. They charged him 5% simple annual interest. What will be the total amount that Tim will owe his parents in 1 year? Okay, so we're going to use our formula. And let's write everything down. He borrowed $100, so that is the principal amount. That is the amount of money that he gets. So that's the principal. And it says that his interest rate is 5%. So that's interest rate. That's the rate. So that's R. Okay. And the time is 1 year. Okay. And the question is, how much interest will Tim have to pay? So in this case, it's a little different than what I was talking about just a moment ago. Tim is borrowing money, so he has to pay for the privilege of having that money before he earns it. So he's paying his parents because they don't have access to that $100 for this year. So that's the fee that they're charging him. Okay, when you have a bank, if you put money in the bank, they pay you for the privilege of using your money, and then you don't have access to that, so that's what you charge them, the interest rate. Okay, so my formula then, I have my numbers that I need, and I'm going to write 5% as a decimal, so it's 5. And then I'm going to divide by 100 to get rid of the percent sign. Remember, we already learned that in this chapter. That's why this topic is relevant, because we've been learning decimals and percents. Okay, so I've got my interest is, I'm just rewriting this again down here. So my interest, I don't know. The principal is $100. The rate is 5%. And the time is 1 year. So when I multiply all those things together, you'll see that that is $5. So the interest Tim will owe is $5 for the $100 that he borrowed. Okay, let's do another one. I'm going to put my charger on here on my computer. All right, number 2. You deposit $600 into a 6-month certificate of deposit. That's called a CD. All right. After 6 months, the balance is $618. Find the annual interest rate. Okay, so what we're trying to find this time is the rate. So we want to find the rate. And let's talk about this, okay? So a certificate of deposit, it's kind of a complicated thing to explain. It's another type of investment you can make. Perhaps you should ask your parents about that, but that's what it's called. All right, so you put $600 in, and after 6 months, you have $618. So your total is $618. What you put in was $600. So if you find the difference between those, you find out the amount of interest that you earned is $18. So this is the amount of interest you earned in that 6 months. Okay? So let's take our formula and fit in what we have. Now, this is the amount of interest, and in my formula, I represents the dollar amount of interest. Right? That's what our question was in number 1. What was the dollar amount? Well, this time I have it. Okay? So this is 18 here. Now the principal is the amount of money that I originally invested. So that would be 600. And I don't know the rate, but I do know the time. Now be careful. Up here it says find the annual interest rate. Annual means yearly. So it's by, let me spell that better, by the year, okay? So if I have 6 months, how much of a year is that? Well, that would be 6 months, MOS period, equals half of a year. And how would I write half of a year as a decimal? 1/2 is the same as 50 over 100, which is 0.50, isn't it? So I need to put my decimal in. So I'm going to have my rate, which I don't know that I'm trying to solve for, and it's going to be times 0.5. Now I want to solve for R. I want to get R by itself. So every time I start with my equation and I put in all of the numbers that I have, and then I try to solve for the thing I don't know, which is the rate in this case. So I'm going to multiply 600 times 0.5 is 300. Now I want to get R by itself. Remember that? I'm going to divide by 300 on both sides, and that makes this go away. It's a good thing we know how to solve simple equations, right? We're using some of that. So then I have 18 out of 300. And if I divide 18 by 300, remember my denominator goes here, I get, let's see, 0.6. And it works exactly. Remember, 300 doesn't go into 180, so I have to hold that spot with a 0. So my rate is 0.06, which is the same as 6%. Okay, I want you to try 2 on your own. That's my answer. And then we'll do a couple more. Okay, so my OIOs, I'm just going to read it out loud and let you write down the important information. You deposit $500 into an account that earns, so a $500 deposit that earns 6% annual interest. What will the balance be in 2 years? Okay. Number 2, you deposit $1,000, so you have $1,000 deposit in a 3-month CD. After 3 months, let's write that a little nicer. The balance is $1,005. Find the interest rate. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and pause the video and use our formula and try to work that out, and we'll come back in just a few minutes. And I'm going to change colors in the meantime. So it'd probably be a good lesson for your parents too. They could explain it to you. A good refresher for them. They probably know all about it though. Okay, so let's see. I've got I equals PRT, and I'm trying to find the balance. So first, I know I have $500, and what I'm missing is the interest. So I want to find the interest. So I'm going to solve for I, and my principal is $500. 6% becomes 0.06, and my time is 2 years. And when I work that out, I get $60. So my interest is $60. But what's the question? The question is, what will the balance be? So I needed the interest, but I need to do more to get the answer. So I started with $500, and I'm going to add 60 to it. So my new balance is 500. So make sure you answer the question they ask. We did have to use this formula to solve it, but we weren't done just with that. Okay, let's do number 2. We have a $1,000 deposit. Here is our formula. So I'm going to put $1,000 into that. A 3-month CD. So that is 3/12 of a year, or 1/4. How do I write 1/4 as a decimal? That becomes 0.25. So I'm going to have 0.25, and the balance is $1,005. Okay, and I'm trying to find the interest rate. I don't know that. So I need I here, don't I? What is the interest I've earned? Well, I have some clues. I started with $1,000, and after 3 months, I had $1,005. So So what's the difference? The difference is $5. So my interest that I've earned so far is $5. Now let's work it out. So 25% of 1,000 is 250. When I multiply these two together, divide by 250, and I get 2.02, which is 2%. Okay? If I went kind of fast on that, go ahead and rewind it, pause it, look at it again, and hopefully you can figure it out. If not, you're welcome to contact me, and we will have, hopefully, a Zoom meeting about this. Okay, number 3. You put $750 into a CD. Your simple annual interest rate is 4%. You receive a check for interest. How long will it take to earn $150 in interest? Okay, so what am I trying to find here? When the question says, how long? What does that refer to? Principal, rate, or time, or interest, amount of interest? It refers to time. So I'm trying to solve for time this time. Okay. So, here's my formula. All right. I know the interest I want to have is $150. And I'm putting $750 in at a rate of 0.04 or 4%, and I don't know T. Okay, when I multiply 750 times 4%, I get 30. Now I divide by 30 on both sides, and T is 5. So it takes 5 years to earn $150 of interest on $750. That's actually pretty good. Okay, we're going to do one more. We're going to have deposit $200 at a 4.5 rate of interest for 8 months. Find the interest earned and the balance. Okay, let's see how to do this. So here's my formula. Okay, and I want to find the interest earned, so I don't know I. The principal is 200. Now, 4.5%, I'm going to move that over 2, so that becomes 0.045. Now, how long? 8 months, but it's always in terms of a year. So it's 8 out of 12 months. It's 8/12 of a year, right? So I'm going to put 8/12 in. I have a fraction there. Okay, and when I multiply that all together, let's see, what I need to do is I need to change 8/12 to a decimal, and that's 0.67. If you did that in a calculator, 8 divided by 12, that's what you would get. And my interest would be $6.03 when I multiply them all together. Okay, so what's the question? Find the interest earned. I have that. Now it says find the balance. Well, I started with $200 and I'm going to add the interest to it. So now my total is $206.03. All right, so that's it for today. I'm going to send you the homework and I hope you have a great Wednesday. Bye now.